once again deciding to shake things up, and we're just going to skip announcements altogether. I might put a few important ones on the end, but I came here to give you something special. Today, you guys are going to get a rant. Now, for those of you who don't like it when I go off the deep end like that and just start swearing randomly, I will try to timestamp it in the description below so you can go down there now and skip over to that so you can get to the next musical piece and the beginning of the show. But I have to answer a few criticisms that I had leveled at me the past couple weeks or so. It's no surprise, really. It seems like every time I do We Talk About Dead People crossover, some people in the audience are upset about it, you know. The style of show we do over there when we have our crossover episodes isn't everybody's cup of tea. And that's generally where I get the most of my 1-star reviews is after those episodes. The beauty of podcasting is if you don't like an episode, there's a number of things you can do. There's really 4 main options. The first is you can just take your finger and scrub to the end of it and say, you know what, maybe next week's will be my cup of tea. Second is you can listen to it and hope that it gets better as it goes along. You know, that's the thing with comedy. Not every joke lands, but there may be one down the road that does. And so it might be worth it to listen all the way through. The third one is to go with option A or B and then send me an email with one of the 6 contact links I have in the description below, and we can discuss anything you want. You can say what you liked, what you didn't. Maybe there was a joke that went over your head or possibly you didn't like but simply needed to be explained better. Because I fully admit sometimes the joke doesn't come off right, I don't set it up properly, and maybe that's the reason you don't like it. Or perhaps at that time our senses of humor are just unaligned, which is inevitable. Certain things I find funny, a bunch of other people don't. You know, that's part of life. And if you did anything in the first 3 categories for the Nero episode or any other episode you didn't like, I still respect you as a fan because you did the responsible and adult thing. However, there are a few people out here that listen to this show who are in the 4th category, who when they hear something offensive, immediately shut off the episode, write me a nasty email and leave a 1-star review on the podcast, and then clip them together and send them to me. Those people I have absolutely no fucking patience for, and they should stop listening to this show right now and probably just stop interacting with people in general because you're the kind of toxic people in our society that should just jump off a bridge collectively and fucking drown. And in particular, I'm focusing my aggression this week at a supposed quote-unquote fan. You know, everyone, whenever they write in and are upset, are always a fan who have listened to every episode, even though if they were, they realized that the thing they were getting mad about is just another version of hundreds of other jokes I've done over the show that they were totally okay with. And the fact that they're offended by one really shouldn't be any different than any of the other jokes I've ever told. And ordinarily, I would just sort of brush it off. I'd probably just send a nasty response back and that would be it. But I don't know whether it's just my growing frustration with this series or the fact that I had food poisoning and I was lying on the ground in agonizing pain for the last 2 days, and it's really lowered my tolerance for bullshit. But here we are in Rantville. The train has arrived. Toot toot, motherfuckers. We're going to read an email from viewer and past quote-unquote fan James. I'm pretty disappointed, man. I gotta be honest. I changed my rating and review to the following paragraph. That was the first episode of yours I didn't finish because you were blaming Christians for their own persecution. Either you don't know what's really happening in the world, or you're too immature to care. Either way, oof. And then here's the text of his review. Geez, I've enjoyed the previous episodes, but the last We Talk About Dead People went over like a lead balloon. I'm usually pretty good with irreverent humor, but insulting Christians like a 14-year-old atheist and then blah, 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 and burned alive in Nero. Okay, so that's the thing, and I get that some of the jokes that I told in the Nero episode didn't go over well. And as always, I will never apologize for any jokes I ever told because I don't believe in retraction and retreat. But one thing I will do is I will explain, because there may be some reasonable people out there who didn't like that joke either. I wasn't, as James is saying, blaming Christians for their own persecution. I am simply saying that the reason that we remember said persecution is because Christians have kept that tradition alive, and that is why Nero is most reviled by modern readers today, because Christians have kept the memory of that persecution alive for 2,000 years. Which is ironic because the joke went so far over James's head, it's in fucking orbit right now, giving him directions to the fucking liquor store so he can feed the fetal alcohol syndrome that his mother probably gave him while drinking while she was pregnant with him. But anyway, he actually ended up proving the joke was the reason that he still got so upset about Nero, and that one joke is because the Christian tradition kept that story alive through the ages. So, in his impotent limp dick Karen-esque tirade, he just proved my joke and didn't even realize it. So congratulations, dumbass. You've won. You've struck your mighty blow against the podcast that you claim to have been a fan of before. But your reign of terror ends here. You've done all you could. You left your one-star review out of the other 252 out there, who almost all of the other ones are 5 stars. You've shot your shot, and you came up short. And to quote another fan who wrote in, Alex, on Instagram with the opposite perspective, where he actually liked the episode and appreciated the humor about Nero and actually had really interesting questions to bring about the discussion of Rome. You're not going to heaven any quicker because you stood up for Christianity, buddy. Eat a Snickers, LOL. But I'd like to rephrase that in the words of the famous Richard Pryor. Have a Coke and a smile, and shut the fuck up. And that rant wasn't just for me. It was for another fan of the show, BT Newberg, who we've worked together with in the past. I just happened to be scrolling through his reviews because I was trying to check up on how well his show's doing. And I saw that old Jimbo had struck again with another 1-star review because he doesn't appreciate the nuance of what BT Newberg is doing. So that wasn't just for me. It was for all the other podcasters out there he has influenced with his lame-ass criticism. Oh, and today's intro music is the song Empire by August Burns Red off of the Leveler album.